Hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is. What a beautiful day. This is another one of those days where everywhere I go, people are going to say, this is a beautiful day. This is a beautiful day because it's not too hot. It's a breezy, not so hot day. So it might be in the 70s today, So anyway, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you can give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't be afraid, don't be shy. Swing by and say hi, Starlight, by leaving Starlight a comment down below. Beep, beep, beep. And you could share my videos with your family, your friends. A unicorn? An alien? Yeah, why not? You could share my videos with an alien. And you can also check out my playlist and find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. So here we go. Before I start, I want to say a big, huge thank you to all of you who have subscribed, who gave me a thumbs up, or even left me a comment down below. Thank you. I really appreciate you for being here, loving and supporting Starlight. So anyway, today is a special video. This is one of Starlight's all-time favorite topics to talk about. And some of you are probably wondering, what is it, Starlight? Well, didn't you push the button? Well, anyway, I had a while back, maybe a couple months ago, a man that was with his wife. He asked me some questions about my YouTube channel, and it's one of my all-time favorite questions and favorite topic to talk to. You want to talk to Starlight about this topic? Please come, talk to Starlight. Leave me a comment down below, if you got any questions about this topic. So anyway, this man, and I can't remember his name, but he asked me, do I, Starlight, believe in aliens? And guess what my answer was? Absolutely 100%. I believe in aliens. So some of you are quite new to my YouTube channel. You might have not, there's a lot of videos I made in the past, so I don't expect that you watched all of my older videos, because you won't be able to watch these ones now. So anyway, as I have made videos on different topics, and about aliens and stuff like that, spiritual awakenings, and a lot of people didn't watch certain videos because they don't know what it is, they're unsure, or whatever the reason was why they didn't watch those particular videos. Some people, might not want to click onto an alien video because they don't believe in it, they don't want to hear about it. But anyway, this is my YouTube channel, and this is the topic for today, is, does Starlight believe in aliens? Yes, I do. And the other question that this man asked, do you believe that there's evil ones out there? Yes, I do. Just like the way everything has been in our life, there's some people, they think one race, which race is an illusion, they think, that is the bad race, that those type of people, and here we're, I'm a different race, and no, that's a, they wanted to separate us and divide us. No, there's not, there's positives and negatives, light and dark, and any kind of human beings. We're all multi-spiritual beings having a human experience. So what's on the outside doesn't matter. It's what's going on the inside. And I just told a couple down at the beach the other day, it was kind of beautiful, is that it was a husband and a wife. They had 2 boys, and the littlest boy, he's probably about 4 years old, and he was butt naked. So I made a joke as I was going by, and I'm like, oh no, I thought I was at the nude beach, just making a little haha joke. And they warned me before I even saw their little son, butt naked, and he was just enjoying himself. Starlight had absolutely no problem with that at all. And so, I I said, people make a big deal out of people being naked, but that's how we started. It's not about what's on the outside. And that's what the man said there, the husband, is it's what's going on the inside. It's not about the outward. So please get over that part about your outward appearance or their outward appearance. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about what's going on inside. That's what you need to pay more attention to, is not this outward appearance. Believe me, you'll get fooled many times if you just pay attention to what somebody looks like on the outside. And I've been learning that on this journey. So anyway, so no matter what race you come from, because I'm going to speak the way most people understand it, is that there's people that love God, and then there's people that despise God. There's all right, no matter what skin color you have. So I believe the same thing with aliens. Yes, I do believe in aliens. I've been in contact with aliens my whole life. I was like at a young age out in the middle of nowhere, out in the woods somewhere where I grew up, and I wanted, something to come down and save me when I was a child, and I have been in contact with aliens my whole life, where they've come and helped me out. They've been there, and it's amazing. That's all my kids know about their mom is, my mom has a connection with aliens. My daughter just sent me a funny little picture on Messenger, from my phone, and it had a little squirrel, and he was holding a little sign, and he said, "Send me to your feeder, not to your leader," And my daughter my daughter mainly knows that I love feeding the animals all the time, but down below was a little UFO. A little UFO was just sitting there with this little squirrel, like, "Send me to your feeder." And so it was so funny. I was like, but that's how my kids know me, is about being connected with aliens, UFOs, and all this stuff. So this video is about some experiences that I've went through as far as the spiritual awakening goes. And so I did want to, I don't know how I'm going to title this, but I did want to make another video similar to this one, is you have to pass these tests, because that's where this is going to be a little story time here, as far as you have to pass these tests in order for us to let you go, kind of thing. But you have to pass these tests, is what I've been told, in 2023, I believe. And so Starlight, in the year of 2023, at the same, on my birthday month in August, and it was August 15th to 16th, is some crazy ass shit happened in my life. I'm going to take a shortcut. I'm just going to get right to the point of what I'm trying to get to. I don't want to do the long story here, but if you want to check out this story from the beginning to the end, which some pieces I forgot, is check out my videos on spiritual awakenings, and you'll find this story here, as far as where I'm going with this. So yes, I do believe a dark force aliens, and I do believe in a light force aliens. Now, this is my life and my journey, so you could take it or leave it. I don't really care what you think about this. This is my experience. There's many stories out there of other people dealing with, like, aliens of a dark force or alien. Mine were of light, when I was long time ago, when my connecting with them. But there are dark forces out there. And so there's also different, I explained this to somebody not too long ago, and they said, "Oh my, it sounds like the movie Men in Black." I watched that movie, So Starlight, her experience is, aliens are not stupid, right? They're more evolved than us, right? Do you believe that they're more evolved than we are? Of course, they got their UFOs, but Hollywood has created aliens and all that to be evil and to be scary, to put fear, in your life, and make you always be afraid of something that you might not, like, those kind of aliens are not aliens that I'm talking about. The aliens that I'm talking about is that they can shift into people. They can actually be inside of people. And my belief is that Jesus, now some of you might get offended by me saying this. Now, nobody could prove really if Mary had an affair or not, but boom, Jesus was there, supposed to be the Son of God, being with Mary, having Mary as the mother, and they were looking for the star to find out, these people that wanted to they wanted to hurry up and get Jesus before he was born. They wanted to kill him, and they were following him and tracking him down, with the stars, and that is where he was born, with his mother Mary, is through that time. Sorry, this noise here. So I believe that is how they enter through, is through a female, like a portal, and that's, so Starlight definitely believes I am like part alien, part human. Whether you believe this or not, I really don't care. But so I'm going to skip a lot of that because I mentioned these things before, but my whole thing is my experience in 2023 is I got sent to a hospital. I'm trying to think of how I got sent. I got sent to a hospital right in the town that I lived, and they ended up sending me to a different hospital I've never been into. It's a Samaritan hospital, and my experience in there is mind-blowing. So like I said, now hang with me. Some of you already know this stuff. You've had your own experience, because I do know some of you out there that have had, at least one person that knows that I'm not crazy, I'm just waking up. So aliens can look like humans, and so as I've gone on a spiritual awakening in 2023, when I went to this, I got sent to this hospital, and I was being tested. So there's a force that knew everything, knows stuff about Starlight, whether I knew this or not. I didn't know it at the time. They knew who I was when I got there. There was aliens, at this hospital. Whether you believe this or not, I really don't. I don't care what you believe. I know what I experienced. I was not on any drugs. If I was on any drug at that particular time, it would have only been marijuana, but I wasn't even high at this time. I was smoking before this when I got sent into the hospital. So I was being tested the moment that I got sent to this hospital, because I've gone through abuse into hospitals, and I got to witness abuse in hospitals with the doctors, trying to keep you locked in and not to set you free when, you should have been out of the hospital. So, you might think this is all crazy, where is this crazy chick? Why is she talking about this? I don't care what you think, really. I know what I experienced, and when you go through it yourself, you'll feel the same way as I do. Is there was people that were like in the matrix of stimulation, and it was all an act. That's what it was, and it was all an act to trigger things out of Starlight. There was an elderly lady that was in this, I didn't even know where I was. They set me in this place. I thought they were going to send me to a hospital. I'm in this place. I don't even know where I am. I didn't know the location. I don't know how far away I was from my apartment. But here I am in this hospital, and there's an elderly lady there. Starlight loves elderly people. I love everyone. But there's an elderly lady that was there. I was sitting there waiting for people to come to me and, do whatever they had to do so I can get back out of the hospital. And it was all a setup. It was all like a show. It was all like a movie, and it's crazy is that they this lady acted like she was in that hospital, standing around in that hospital for a long time. And when I got in this hospital, I didn't know if I was ever going to get my ass back out of there. And then I talked to this lady, and then she's like, oh yeah, I've been here all day and nobody's came to me and talked to me. And so I was like, holy shit, where am I? Because I have gone through crap at hospitals with doctors and staff. I've had experiences with that, and not just myself, but my daughter has gone through shit like that going into hospitals. So aliens can be in a form like a doctor, a nurse, the president, who knows, these special places, hospitals would be perfect because that's where people are being born, and that's where people have to go to get help. It would be a great job for an alien to say, yeah, I want to be a doctor. That way, then they have contact with the humans, because that's where they're gonna, you know, I've had some creeped out freaking dreams in my life, like having doctors over me and checking out my whole body and stuff like that. So yeah, aliens, it would not surprise me for aliens to be doctors or work with the the government, for the politicians and stuff like that, being a politician. So, you know, don't just think that there's going to be an alien invasion or a UFO landing and they're going to look like the aliens that you see on the movies. Absolutely not. That's all a trick. That's all to scare you. They're already here. Whether you believe this or not, they're already here. So when I was in this hospital, I thought I got locked up with this lady. Nobody knew I was even in the hospital. My family didn't know. It would have been a great way for me to just disappear. Nobody would have even known where the heck Starlight went. Nobody would even know where to look for Starlight. So I'm just letting you know that I'm not here to scare you, but I'm here to tell you that they're already freaking here. And they can be in a doctor. They can be working in the hospitals. They can be at the government, at the out here it's there's different governments out there in the world. So is just because you don't think that there's aliens around here because you're looking for some unknown looking creature, just walking around with antennas popping out of his head or, looking strange and weird. No, they're already here in human form, and that they can shift into people, and play different roles, just like a Hollywood star. So Starlight thought she was being locked up, and I was tested. These people were screwing with me in this hospital. I thought they were keeping this lady like a hostage in this hospital, and Starlight was like a superhero popping out of her, because this is how I realized that we have power. We are more than what you think. And this was my wake up call, is to realize, holy shit, I turned from being a normal Starlight to superhero Starlight because Starlight can't deal with people being abused. And that's what was going on. This lady, I thought they locked us up. So Starlight never behaved like this until this day. Is I seen the exit door and there was officers there, and Starlight charged after those officers. Well, those officers dropped Starlight like freaking as quick as like pew. I mean, they just slammed my ass, right down, had me. I mean, they knew what the fuck they were doing. I am so impressed. I'm not that type of person to ever attack anybody, but this was a life-threatening thing to me when I was going through and thinking I was never going to get out, and that this elderly lady, no way, you're not, I don't care who you are. Starlight wanted to protect this lady and myself, by acting, and that, because nobody was coming to assist us. I sat there for who knows how long. It was all a test. It was all just a test. That's what they were doing. They wanted to see Starlight get, triggered. They wanted to see what Starlight was going to do. These officers handcuffed me to the bed quick. I mean, before you know it, everything was strapped to the bed. I was handcuffed. I was wearing an outfit I would have never wore outside. And that was a test. It was all a freaking test. So Starlight's been handcuffed before. Have you ever been handcuffed before? Well, Starlight has been handcuffed, normally in a bedroom scene, having a little fun. So Starlight knows the do's and don'ts about handcuffs. So if you've never been in a handcuff before or never been handcuffed to a bed before, there's do not do's when handcuffs. you know There's things you cannot do in handcuffs. There's things that you should not do with handcuffs. You should not freak out with handcuffs. Is it going to really do you any good? So Starlight knew, I'm not going to freak out. It's just going to cause me more, you know. So Starlight didn't. Starlight just like, I was in my headspace asking the universe for help. How do I get out of this? How do I get out of this? They handcuffed my ass. I knew I was being watched. I can't prove anything I'm saying. There was a flat screen TV, boink, right there. That is how I ended up getting in the hospital the first freaking place, is because people, whether you believe this or not, were spying in my flat screen TV in my apartment. This is how I ended up getting sent to a hospital, is because somebody hacked into all my accounts, all my phone, my laptops, my smart TV. Somebody was spying on me in my flat, you know. I was waking up. I was not, I'm not, this is not made up stuff. And this is what they were doing with me. They were watching everything. These beings out here were watching and studying Starlight to see if I could think my way out of this freaking mess, you know? So who really knows really where we are as far as reality? Are you really, really physically here like you think you are? You know, I always thought, well, wouldn't it be weird if we were just in a jar, you know, like, and we think this is all real? I'm just, these are thoughts. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but it was a test. How was Starlight going to get out of the handcuffs at the hospital? I had to outsmart the whole system. That's what it was. I had to think my way out of it. It wasn't fight my way out of it. And so Starlight did figure a way. I asked the universe, please help me. I'm like, I'll tell you what, it's scary as shit. Being locked up somewhere, you don't know where you are, and you're handcuffed to a bed with freaking skimpies on. When I say skimpies, these are clothes that Starlight would never have been outside of her house wearing. They were my dance clothes for my apartment only, you know? So I had to outsmart the whole thing. The universe told me how to get out. And it was simply by saying, officer, you know, I actually tried to get out. I was trying to see if I can sneak my way out, you know, with my hands, you know, without causing a lot of stress with my body parts, you know. And then I tried to actually get the officer. I'm like, man, this one's over here, really tight, this handcuff here. Can you loosen it up? He came over. He checked it, you know, he put his fingers in there. Oh, no, it's fine. I'm like, really? Man, that freaking... So they definitely had the handcuffs on well enough so I could not squeeze out of them, because if I could have squeezed out of them, you know, I was at that moment where you feel like cutting your arm off just to get out of these fuckers. So I am sorry about my language, but man, I'll tell you, it was a very tense day. And so the way I got out, which you would not believe, is I'm like, officer, I gotta use the bathroom. Did I really have to go to the bathroom? Not really. I didn't really have to go that bad, but it worked. That's what I needed. So that was, I had to learn acting skills. I had to act, you know, pretend. And that's what I did. I got out of those handcuffs, and bam, that was a test. It was just a freaking test. I was being tested by aliens to see how I was going to respond in this freaking setting. And I passed with flying colors. Bam, now that elderly lady and myself, now we're actually in a hospital. And when I showed up there, met the doctor, nurses, they came to me and they said, they didn't say my name's Starlight, but they said, you have, like, I'm just going to name a number, it had to have been around this, 9 tests that you have to pass in order to get out of this hospital. 9 tests. What does that mean? What does that mean? I got 9 tests to pass. These were psychic tests. You know, I have been in a hospital before where an UFO was above my apartment telling me what to do. Believe it or not. My daughter had to call 911 to have everybody come in to help me out because she had no clue what the blank was going on with her mom. So here now, because I visualized, I knew that there was a UFO, can't prove it, but it was above my apartment, and they looked like people inside of a UFO. And they were actually watching and studying Starlight, telling me what to do in my headspace. For example, Starlight, I would have a, take a drink of your water. And these were tests. So in this hospital, I was under like an alien testings. I had to pass these tests psychologically. I had to mentally, I had to go within. It wasn't about being outside and looking outside. It was about inside, and that's what they were doing. There was tests. They didn't tell me what the freaking tests were. There was all these puzzles that they put in front of me. They actually said, there's all these puzzles. This is going to be I don't know how many parts on this, so Starlight is going to let you know. There was puzzles in the community room, like at the hospital that I was in. And they told me, somebody came in here, and there's all these brand new boxes of, well, I say brand new, but there's all these boxes that were open of puzzles. Starlight loves puzzles. I love mind games, not with people, but they told me that I had to, actually, let me back up, that somebody that was in the hospital, what they did is they mixed up the pieces in the boxes, and I had to actually figure out where all these pieces go in these boxes. What a job, right? So because of time, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to end this video here because I don't want these videos too long. So I'm going to, there's a lot that went on, and I'm just letting you know, they are already here. The aliens are already here. There are dark ones, and there are of light. They can tap into your head, and that's, there's people out there, they hear voices. They're not crazy, because Starlight went through this, but I got sent in this hospital, and they were going to give me a whole bunch of mental tests, psychic tests, that I had to figure out and do without even knowing what the tests were. It's different like when a teacher says, hey, I'm going to give you a test, and it's going to be a math test, and you're like, okay, I can prepare for the math test, or I'm going to give you a writing test, or I'm going to give you a reading test and see how well you comprehend what you're reading and answer the questions of what happened in the story. No, this was a totally different freaking test. This goes deeper than just going to school, or being tested at your job, to see if you learned everything, for safety and all that stuff. So anyway, I gotta end this video right now. So so Starlight was with the puzzles. That's where I'm gonna end right now, because I had to explain certain things on this video, because a lot of people, did not watch those videos, and they are so absolutely important to watch. You might think I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. I'm just waking up. So anyway, I love you. This is Starlight. You can give this video a thumbs up. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. And I'm trying to get closer because the sun is, you can also share this video with your family or friends. Some aliens and UFOs, and you can check out my playlist and find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. I love you all, and so this is only part one. I don't know how many parts, but you're gonna just keep going. Starlight's just gonna do these and get them all finished, get the whole complete thing set up, because there's some things I did not say in my other video a long time ago when I went through my spiritual awakening in 2023. There's things that I left out, so I have to, it's a funny part. So anyway, I love you so much. Enjoy your day. Namaste. This is Starlight, love, light, and peace.